What's up, everybody? This is Jimmy with Trading Decoded. It is February 15th, 2024, and it's 4:04 in the afternoon. The market is closed. Thank God. First of all, I hope everybody had a happy Valentine's Day. And without further ado, let's go ahead and launch the charts. I want to tell you this. Today was not a very comfy, cozy day for me, at least for the times that I enjoy trading, which is the first half of the day. Typically by 11 o'clock, and I would still consider that to be late for me, I'm usually done. The one thing that I hate the most on trading days is a lack of convergence, or divergence rather, between ADD and the Qs. If you look at those two charts today, you will see that they were going in completely opposite directions. That makes things inherently more difficult for the types of trades that I like to trade and why. So the two trades that I did take today were not nearly as comfortable as I would like to be. Now, the reason I took them is because I told my community in advance that I would be taking them. So I put myself out there ahead of time, and I'm not going to roll back on my sayings. So we had a call and put scenario today. Fortunately, at the open, the put scenario, we had already opened below it. But what we wanted to see was a breach of 499.35 to fill the gap at 499.07. Of course, SPY listens to us in the morning while we're talking about these things. And because we come up with them at 9:25. And wouldn't you know, by 9:28, we had breached that line and went right down to 499.07. Bounced right off of it, and away we went, which opened us up to the call scenario. Now, this was a tight ranging trade, okay? It still barely provided us the 20-cent move that we'd like to get. And some folks held on to this trade because our stop loss was a candle close below this blue pre-market low line, okay? The trigger was a breach of 499.78. Some folks got in a little early because of the green candles here. I want to show you what Qs were doing in the morning. This. But what was ADD doing in the morning? Well, the opposite. ADD was doing the exact opposite. So people were asking me, Jimmy, when that is happening and you decide to take a trade, what is it that you're basing your decision making on? Well, that's a tough question to answer, but I'm going to do my best to explain. ADD was going up at a much more aggressive pace than the Qs were moving down, okay? The Qs, we recognized pretty early that they were having a very difficult time continuing to move up. They were hitting their pre-market resistance and really never even got above that, so we knew they were trending down pretty quick. We had to wait a few minutes, but SPY was going in the opposite direction. So it was for us to determine whether SPY was being submissive to ADD, which is basically the small caps and everything else moving up significantly, or the Qs. Well, if SPY is going in the same direction as the Qs, then we know the Qs are winning that battle. If ADD is moving up and SPY is going with it, we've got to lean on ADD. Okay. What we don't want is that when we're in the ADD or in a trade because ADD is going up and Qs are going down, we don't want ADD to turn around and go in the same direction as the Qs. That is your get out. Okay. If you're in calls because ADD seems to be dragging the market up, even though the Qs are going in the opposite direction, as soon as you start to see ADD go in the other direction, be careful. You don't want to play against those two when they're going in the same direction, which didn't happen for the majority of the morning. But we breached our call line, and we made it up to our blue line. Whether you stayed in because we never stopped out and you got out at the actual touch, I got in a slightly early because I was trying to front run this trade a little bit, not by much, but it was just about a 20% win. Actually, I take that back. It was 11% win. My bad. And And I was happy with that. I wasn't comfortable with it because Qs were going down and ADD was going up. Not my favorite thing. Likewise, while we were chopping around, having a hard time getting above that 500 line, told everybody, guys, if we can close above 500, I expect this thing to go to $500.33. That's it. We got the Jim indicator here, which is telling me that the Qs, ADD, and Apple all at the same time are moving in the same direction, at least at this moment. The next candle closed us above that 500 line. We get in, we ride up, we get out. About a 33-cent move, 30-cent move, 25-cent move, depending on when you got in. Either way, it paid about 22% if you waited till closer to this line and got out when you were supposed to. I'll take it. But again, it wasn't comfortable because the Qs and ADD up until this point were fighting each other tooth and nail. Okay? We reject the line. We come back down to support, slowly making our way up. Now, there was no entry for call here that I was talking about. So why is this circle here? Well, I'm trying to be a voice of reason for people who are in trades, whether they got in off support down here or they got in at a break of resistance here. Whatever the case was just like this, right? We closed above 500. We're looking for the move to go up. 1016. Let's take a look at what Qs were doing at 1016. This is where I'm telling everybody, guys, Qs are at a line of resistance. You might want to take your profits if you're in calls here. This is exactly what I'm telling people. I'm looking at this chart, not at the SPY chart at the time, telling them, hey, Qs are at resistance. At least move your stops up if you want to hold on to it. Ended up being a pretty good time to get out. Then the chart got really, really ugly, as if it wasn't already ugly before, guys. I don't know if any of you look at this chart and think, oh man, I missed the most epic day. Don't fool yourselves. Very easy to come back later in the day and see all of these things that had happened after the fact, and you assume that you would have played them correctly and that you would have made all this money. I'm here to tell you that today sucked. Surprisingly, a good portion of people in our community, much more than I thought, was actually green today. So I'm very, very happy about that. We had a fair amount of people blue book it today, meaning no trades. And some people who were red, not extremely red. Nobody hurt themselves that I'm aware of too bad today, which I fully expected to be the case with a chart like this. But the last trade that I actually talked about with our folks was the put line. Okay, I was asked, would you play a break of the put line if we did so? And I said, well, there's three things that need to be happening for me to take that trade. Now, I didn't take this trade, and I said to everybody, I wouldn't hold it through the pink line even if I did. That's why that circle's there. Qs need to be below a certain support level. SPY needed to be moving below this support level. And because this was holding here, guys, for a while, this area. So I needed this to be broken. I needed the Qs to break a major support level that it was on at 1104, which was right here. This support on the Qs, you see this area right here? We got through that, and at the time, ADD was also moving down. It's about as close to a setup as I would have been comfortable playing today. By then, I was already done anyway, so I didn't take this trade, but we did have some folks take it. The stop in this was any candle closes above the 499.35 line, because realistically, our normal stop would have been all the way up here, which too far of a pullback. So if you're going to take that trade, reduce your risk by keeping your stops tight, hoping that we stay below resistance and make it down to our line. It made it a little farther down at 1109 on the Qs. Guess what was happening? Qs were right on support, guys. So if that pink line didn't exist there and I wasn't in that trade, I would have been watching the Qs, instructing people to consider taking their profits because Qs are on support. That's it. As you can see, that support held and up we went. All right, up we went. So did SPY. Now, right around 12:15, I think is when I took my lunch. We were still chopping around, doing nothing exciting. Of course, while I'm gone, SPY makes a move to the upside. And somebody at this point had said, Jimmy, now that we're moving up, we've gotten out of the morning range, where would you be interested in taking calls? I said, I certainly wouldn't take them up here and you know who you are, you did it anyway. You make me sad sometimes, lady. Okay. I said, wait for a pullback down to support. Okay. At minimum, wait for a pullback to 501.15. Make your stop loss a candle close below 586. If you want to be super loose with it, you can make it a candle close below the yellow line, below this yellow line, whatever it is. Don't buy your calls up here. Okay. Wait for a pullback. But what was good about this is I also believe that Qs were pulling back to support at the same time. 136. Let's see here. Yeah. Qs had pulled back to their pre-market mid, or if you don't want to count the line, count the actual support right here. You could see clear as day. We were trending up. Okay. We didn't know if it was going to make it higher high. Okay. So what are we looking for? If we're going to take this trade, first thing we need to pay attention to is that we are currently trading with the trend, which is good. We got to watch out for a potential lower high. Okay. We don't know if what we wanted to see was a break through this yellow line with a higher high, but we have to be on the lookout anytime you're in a trade. So as soon as people got into this trade and they got into profit, I suggested maybe you should move your stop loss to break even. So even if it doesn't make it higher or back to where we once were, and it turns around on you, you can get out with break even. It cost you nothing. Okay. Or if you start to sense weakness in the move, okay, whether it was on Qs, because it was on this candle right here that I was telling everybody, guys, it's not looking like the Qs want to go much higher. Wherever a SPY is right now, you may want to be considering profits, or at the very least, tightening up your stop so you can walk away with something. That's all I said. I can't tell people when to sell, when to buy. I can only suggest what I am seeing based on what I'm seeing. These are my thoughts, my understanding of what I'm looking at. Doesn't mean you have to react or act on the information. But oftentimes, if you do, I'm just trying to be a voice of potential reason, okay? It did mark a lower high, so suggested to potentially get out here. At the very least, get out here. Lower highs are bad for calls. We ended up coming down a little bit more, finding support, and bouncing right back up to resistance again. And we just kind of chopped around. By this time, I think so many people were more nervous about the chart than they were wanting to even take a play, even if they saw a setup they liked. Guys, this was not a clean chart. There was a lot of gross moves, a lot of chop, a lot of consolidation. It just wasn't a great day. We've got a lot of reports tomorrow. Maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Fact of the matter is, there were some people who did very well today in our community, some who didn't do that great, some who didn't do anything. And for those of you who were in each one of those camps, keep your head up. Congrats to those who did great. We had some people that had 26% account growth today somehow. I don't know, but I'm happy about it. But like I said, more importantly there was a lot more people being patient today, and nobody that I'm aware of that had a catastrophic event today. So that's a good day in trading. With that said, I hope you got some useful information in this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to join our Discord community, there's a link down below. We'd love to have you. Come on in. It's a good time. Hope to teach you something, even if you don't stay. If you like what you get while you're there for those 7 days for free, by the way, please consider becoming a paying member. There's also links for that down below. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. And till tomorrow, I love you guys. See you.